trick me once.
All right, I'm trying to get a good mix up.
Yeah, I'm ready.
How's everybody? You ready? All right,
Oh yeah.
can you all drop a 4 to make sure you're seeing those lovely people on the screen? And Stefan,
Or can they do 1 4 times? Does that work as well? Or
1 4
that,
times?
yeah, a 4 or 1 4 times? Because I thought your policy was ones meant that they're enjoying it.
One, yeah, whatever the person moderating asked them to do.
And whatever God, the voice of the Almighty, chimes in and says, "Put 4s in there."
All right, I'm out. I take you. Thank you so much for being with us today. And Stefan, take it from there.
Yes. You guys made it to our panel. It's going to be great. We're going to have a blast. There is no such thing as short and sweet when it comes to business, but when you give us 1 hour and we got to like come up with something branded and kind of snappy and kind of exciting, short and sweet is exactly what you're going to get. So we've got a pretty hot panel, and I've dug into their like history to try to like tease some information out of them. And this is going to be fun. So let's check with our panelists. Is everybody ready?
Ready.
Yes. Okay, cool. This is going to be like the roast, like the roast of a designer, a marketing person, a lawyer. It's going to be good. So we're going to do it like we do in Balanced Breakfast style, where you have to start with your name, your city, your profession. And the icebreaker thing today is going to be something that you like hate. So for me, my name's Stefan. Everybody calls me Stefan, but Stefan. I live in San Francisco, though I've been stuck outside of San Francisco for the last 8 months, finally back. My profession is doing marketing with an emphasis on design, and I hate pet names. So like when I go out on a date with a girl and all of a sudden I'm Poppy or a baby or any of those like pet names, I was like, cringe. Yeah.
Pookie.
This is
Call you Pookie.
instant cringe. Yeah, but I was like, So it's hard. Rick, you were the first one to chime in, so you get to go next.
So I'm Rick Caballo from Dead Horse Branding, Nashville, Tennessee, originally from Sydney, Australia. We run a branding agency with myself, Melissa. I'm head of creative, anything from websites, logo design, marketing. I'm sure I've missed something else, merchandising. And my pet peeve is waste. People that waste things. And it doesn't matter what it is, because, you know, even if it's an apple or whatever, however far that apple had to go to your hands, it had to go to the supermarket and then go somewhere else. And then it's like, you know what, I'm just going to throw that away. I don't like waste.
At what point on that apple, like you eat the core or can you throw away the core?
Throw away the core.
Okay.
And if it's
rotten,
you still have to eat it.
Okay, I'm just checking because my grandpa was the type that would get to the core, and if he didn't eat the core, you could still see the seeds. Like he was down to the seeds on that core.
Wow.
Like that's
I'm not that bad,
intense.
but yeah.
Okay, just checking. All right, Melissa, you're up.
All right, I'm Melissa Corcoballo, based in Nashville, Tennessee, and Sydney, Australia. I am the co-founder of Dead Horse Branding, and my job title there is CEO/brand manager. So I oversee all the brands from the top level down. And my pet hate is people that do bad organization.
Oh, wow! You must get angry every single day then, like just constant, just like, what are you guys doing? Jeez.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm the best either, but I, have very strong organizational skills. So anytime there's something that's just like mismanaged, I'm like, oh my God, freak out.
Rick, how's your organization? I'm just seeing how many fights you get in.
I'm creative,
Terrible.
so you know where
that
I just flow and just get pulled in directions, and you have to be in the creative world.
Yeah, it's all stacks and piles and spots of the desk. It's like that goes in that spot of the desk, that goes in that spot of the desk. There's other things in that closet. It's cool.
But I'm okay generally, but nothing on Mel. Mel's a full-on control freak and organized freak. So,
meant in the most loving way, right?
Yes.
In the most,
Right.
Yeah, okay. Mark, how's your organization?
It looks good from here.
Yeah, the bobbleheads are looking great.
This is the area that looks good,
Perfect.
But if I turn the camera around and show you my desk, you'd change your mind. Yeah. So I'm organized, disorganized. I'm one of those people, like if you came in and there was just stuff everywhere, I would know where everything is, but it would look like it was in terrible shape. I'm one of those.
Yeah. Is that
Stacks
like
of paper, but I know exactly
December and January kind of when you're end of year stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then like once a year, I organize everything, and then I can't find anything anymore.
Nice. Well, it's your turn to do a pitch.
Yes. Okay. I'm Mark Pearson, and I am an entertainment lawyer. And my law firm is Arc Law Group. I work with creative, talented, and entrepreneurial clients across all genres of entertainment. Lots of people in music and film and television and on both sides. So sometimes I'm representing the actor and sometimes the production studio, sometimes the musician, sometimes the record label. So it keeps me on my toes. And also gives me good balance when I'm working with people to try to solve problems. I consider myself more of a problem solver than anything else. What do I hate? Well, if you could see the bobbleheads, I don't know how clear that is, but I hate the Los Angeles Dodgers. Hate.
Nice. Yeah. So what you're saying is there might be a bobblehead of a Dodger player with like marker on his face, or like might be like have parts of his jersey cut up or something.
The night before I got married, or before my wedding reception, we'd actually already gotten married. We were in Wisconsin, and my best man flew in from LA. He'd been down there. He's a lawyer as well. He's down there for depositions, and he had connected with some friends and gone to the Giants Dodgers game, and it was bobblehead night. So he flew in with a bobblehead, and we went to some crazy party where we drank too much, and I was very hungover for my wedding reception. But we blew up the bobblehead with fireworks behind the hotel the night. So there's a James Loney bobblehead at the bottom of Lake Michigan, all charred and burnt to a crisp. So yes, so he's not on the shelf. He's at the bottom of Lake Michigan.
So it's good to know you're much like me, where you have a box of fireworks somewhere underneath a drawer or like underneath a bed or somewhere in the house, like at all times. It's just safer that way.
I've got mine hidden with my sister up in Reno, where it's a little safer. But I had at one point, I had my in-laws drive. They were driving from Wisconsin back here, and in Wisconsin, they've got stores that they just sell fireworks, and I had them buy a lot, and so I've got a gross ton of fireworks hiding at my sister's shed in Reno.
Does that mean when you go to like any place that sells fireworks in the Bay Area, you laugh at what your options are? You're like, I don't want sparklers. I don't want like little fountains.
Man, and if you want a really good story, I was a television reporter for 10 years and mostly covering sports. And at one point I was working in Anchorage, Alaska, covering the Iditarod sled dog race and other outdoor craziness. But I had heard that in Alaska, they sold real fireworks. And it was kind of the first time I'd lived anywhere they sold real fireworks. So I decided, I convinced the news department to let me go do a story right around the 4th of July on real fireworks. And they gave me some for free as part of doing the story, the shop that I went to. And it was a little bit more than I could handle. It's a good story. I'll save it for another time if anybody wants to hear that one. But I almost blew out the windows in the apartment I was living in at the time.
Oh my.
Yeah, with the fireworks, because I had no idea what they'd actually given me. So yeah.
That's fun. All right, we're gonna play a quick game of Love It or Hate It. And I want everybody who's like, I've got my little stream here of YouTube to see everybody who's like joining along with us. So if anybody is watching along with us, you can type in Love It or Hate It. So just be like, you can just say love it, hate it with us, and all three of the panelists here at the same time. So I'm not going to isolate you. You just have to yell out like, I love it, I hate it, I love it, I hate it. So we'll start pretty easy. How about Facebook?
Hate
it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's useful. It's annoying, but it's useful. A little more easy still. Instagram.
Love it.
It's okay.
I love it.
Okay. TikTok.
LA? Is that LA? San Francisco?
Yeah, you hear the fire trucks? It's just going through here, yeah.
I'd say love it. If it's a choice, love it or hate it, love it.
Yeah, TikTok.
Can I say inconsequential? Love,
I
hate,
think
and
so.
consequential.
We unfold that with like coffee or a drink, or like try to figure out like what your real feelings are later.
No, not really. It doesn't really register on the radar, so it's inconsequential.
I see. I'm not following you on TikTok then. I wanted to see your dance videos. I no longer want to see your dance videos.
No, you don't want to see mine.
Mark, what did you say?
I dislike TikTok.
Okay, what about Snapchat?
Hate it.
Inconsequential.
Okay.
You're not playing the game right.
I don't hate it or love it, so there's got to be.
That's not the game.
Inconsequential.
Mark, what about you?
I'm gonna say hate it.
Okay, what about Craigslist misconnections?
What's that?
I don't know what that is.
I know what that is.
Connections.
It's like when you're sitting on the bus and you think someone's checking you out because they might be checking you out, and you think you had a moment and you say, hey, to the girl wearing a beanie and a cute sweater with the pin on the lapel, I thought we had a moment, but we didn't get to say hi. So I'm here on Craigslist misconnections to say, like, if you're here too, what up? I just wanted to say hi.
I don't know that,
that,
but love it.
Maybe they don't have it in
too.
Australia. This might not be an Australian thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't have Craigslist in Australia.
Yeah, I get that.
Our
Okay,
stalkers go to elsewhere.
so now to play into apps that are consequential. What's your favorite app, Rick?
I would say, I don't know, probably a drawing program like Procreate right now. That's a cool little app for me. It's not a social media or anything, but it's a drawing program that I love.
On iPad?
Yeah.
What's the pen you're using with it?
Just the new Apple Pen.
Okay. There are other alternatives out there in case you don't want to be all branded or anything. There's a couple cool ones.
Use I think it's a bamboo or something. It's pretty good too, but it doesn't have the magnet in it, so I like the Apple one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few other cool pens. I won't name drop, but I always say their name wrong. Like I always say Wacom, but everyone wants to do Wacom, but they got some cool pens. Wacom. Melissa, what's your favorite app?
Back to the organization. It's Asana. It's amazing.
Nice. Asana gives me so much anxiety. It's just like I know that it's going to get me organized, but I know someone like you is going to be watching to make sure that I
to do the opposite.
Yeah, but it's like I know someone's watching to see like what priority I put on things, and if I move them from one column to the next, or how I like.
That's me.
I know, and
that's me
panicking. I'm with Rick on the creative side. I'm like let's just get our mind working. Let's whiteboard. Let's do some fun stuff like that. Mark, favorite app?
My favorite app right now is the Yahoo Fantasy Football app because I'm going to win a whole bunch of money in my fantasy football. Normally, though, it would be Seat Guru. I don't know if you know Seat Guru. I think we talked about this at a balanced breakfast meeting once. But you can go on there and you can look on a flight, which nobody does anymore, which is why it's not my favorite anymore. But you can look on any flight and you can see all the seats on the flight. And then it'll give you a review of each seat to tell you which one you might want to select when you're picking your seat. When you're booking your flight.
They all suck.
So,
yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised. I mean,
unless you're in first class.
Yeah. Well, yes, of course. But there are some, on some larger planes like flights to Europe, there's some business class seats that are better than others to give you a little bit more leg room. There's some coach seats that are better than others for leg room purposes. But I like that app because it will break it all down. Yeah.
So what's your favorite player going into this weekend?
My favorite player?
For your fantasy app, right?
You got a fantasy team? Yeah, probably Kamara from New Orleans is going to put me over the top this week.
Nice. And, what's a player that you want for next week that you don't currently have?
Oh no, we play in a league where you pick your team and that's your team for the year. So I don't get. Is anybody benched this week that you'll? I'm so good at fantasy. I have no idea, and I'm probably saying benched like it's a baseball term. But anybody benched that will be in next week that you don't have in this week? Yeah, the one that could potentially kill my team this week is Joe Mixon, who's running back for Cincinnati Bengals. He's going to be out this week with a foot injury, and I really was hoping that he would be there for my point total this week.
Yeah.
How did this get into a fantasy football? I can't see.
We're just letting people in the chat here know us before we get into like the meat, the short and sweet. Rick, you specialize in design and your company does marketing. Your Facebook profile is a white square. What's up?
Well, it was. What happened was when George Floyd was murdered, and I don't want to get political on this platform, but I'll give you the short story.
I think YouTube is exactly where you're supposed to get political. I mean, I don't know where else you're supposed to get political at, but
on Facebook, yeah, it's a very toxic place, and I just can't help not seeing a fact and going, not seeing someone write something going, that's just not true. I need to fix this fact. But when George Floyd got murdered, everyone changed it to black, and I just kept it there because I knew there was going to be another assassination, which is sad to say, and I just kept it there. And then when, again, I don't want to get political, but Joe Biden won, I thought, I see the light, and I don't know who agrees or disagrees, it doesn't matter, but I changed it to white, and as of December 20th, I'm deleting my account.
Interesting.
So I've just brought the whole mood down.
You can
Which
come
jumps
join us.
off the whole hate it part.
You can come join us on the New Balance Breakfast web app. So don't worry about deleting Facebook. It's fine. Just come join us on Balance Breakfast.
You know what? It's just, I think most social media is designed, just like shopping centers, they design it like a maze to capture your attention and your eyes. And to me, it's a necessary evil for our company and our clients, which our company has all the social media platforms that we use. But I don't necessarily have to spend hours on it, fighting with people and arguing and at the same time looking at great stuff that feeds the soul. But in order to get that good information in, I have to sift through a whole heap of other crap that I don't want to do anymore. And so I'm getting off it on December 20th, and I just want to use that time to get into my craft more, and actually, instead of spending time, on your phone or on your computer, you're spending time doing artwork or some other things.
So is that why you deleted your about and any information that might have helped me with this survey that I was going to do on you?
Did you even
I don't think I ever
filled
had
out?
it. I don't think it was. It started out. I originally came to the US as a musician, a touring musician, and I'd tour Australia, then I'd tour the US into Europe, back to the US, back to Australia, and it was a good way musically for people to see what I was doing. And I was never great at it back then, but then it just became a personal thing where you're checking out motorcycles and what other people are doing and that sort of stuff. And it's a great news feed, like especially now that where everyone's downloading their own news source, like the right wing and the left wing, which is not a good thing because you become in a bubble and everyone's in their own bubble. But it's great to be able to put all the news feeds in and watch them easily.
Hey Melissa, what's the biggest difference between Wollongong and Nashville?
Oh man, so much. I mean, Wollongong's great. It's a beach town. It's an hour and a half south of the main part, which is Sydney. And it's beautiful. We love it so much. People there are great. It does have its own community, and business is booming in certain areas there, not music. But Nashville, of course, it's Music City. It's where so many people's dreams come true. There's so much kind of happening here. There's a vibe here that's just, unlike anything you could experience in the whole of Australia. But we are setting up a stronger base in Wollongong, which is really cool. And we're really helping Aussies that want to do not just country music, but music in general. And then, brands and corporations that delve into anything that we put our hands to, which we essentially call anything cool or fun that we like. We're helping bridge the gap. So if they're trying to break into the US market, then we're sort of shifting them over here. Or if any American brands are trying to shift into the Aussie market, we're breaking them sort of over there. But so there's a ton of differences, but they're all good differences. They're not bad.
It's very laid back.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mark, when we go into happy hour, I was thinking about maybe like having a snack, maybe some like potato salad with a bunch of mayonnaise, or like maybe some chips and sour cream. Like, will you join me?
You can't see my hands, but I'm giving you the one finger salute right now.
Ah, yes, yes.
Stefan knows I hate mayonnaise. That's probably right up there with the Dodgers.
Last time we were talking about things that you love, hate, we talked about LegalZoom. Can you elaborate on why you love LegalZoom so much?
No, it's the opposite.
Well, yeah, but you love them because they bring you new clients.
Oh.
That you.
Yes, okay, I get where you're going with this. Yeah,
I tried to do a reverse there.
There's always disputes between various bar associations and some of these online document service companies that position themselves as legal companies when they're not. But I like LegalZoom for the one reason that they make so many mistakes with corporate filings and trademarks that it drives business to me, and it's way more expensive to have somebody fix the problem than to have had it done correctly in the first place. Really, the only thing that a lot of those services are good for is document filing. If you know what you're doing already, and you just need someone to file a document for you, and you don't want to deal with going down to courthouse or whatever to file something, they're fine for that. But otherwise, they're a little misleading. But they drive business to me sometimes, so that makes me laugh. Yeah.
I feel like everybody always asks the wrong questions. Like they always say, like, do I need to become an LLC? When I feel like the correct question is, when do I need to become an LLC, or when do I need to become a sole proprietorship? So what would you say to someone who's like, when should this happen?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so it's actually an answer that you can get from a combination of three people, okay? From your lawyer, your accountant, and your insurance agent. And so if you are running any kind of a business and you've started a venture and you get to a point where you're like, okay, somebody just told me I should do this, or I think that I've heard about, forming a business entity, a corporation, or an LLC, or maybe you got advice from one of those three people that it's the direction to go. It's really kind of a collaborative thing between those three advisors to any business as to whether or not you want to move forward with forming a business entity. So for instance, I'm always going to say it's a good idea for XY reasons, right? One being personal asset liability protection, and two, so that you can have an organized structure to keep all of your business assets and to keep all the people that are involved in the business organized, right? Your accountant is going to be looking at it, what's going to get you the best tax advantage. And then your insurance agent is going to be the one to say, hey, don't forget you're going to need insurance, even though you might have personal asset liability protection. And so they're going to be the ones evaluating risk and saying, yeah, you have enough risk in what you're doing in your business that you might want to put that wall up that is formed with the business entity. So I always, look at it from that perspective of telling people always check with the other two, the insurance and the accountant, to see if they think it's also the right time for you to set up the business entity.
So in the realm of getting help, the same question from Melissa and Rick, that generally people will likely start by doing their marketing themselves. They'll start by doing their design themselves, and then eventually they'll outgrow that. How do you advise your clients as to like when is the right time to hire a company like you guys, like to hire a Dead Horse?
Yeah, unfortunately, it happens a little bit more abrupt than that. People usually come to us midway through their own kind of self-promotion, their own kind of marketing and PR plan, and they've done it all backwards. And as Rick points out, and I'll let him answer half this as well, is, if 1 + 1 = 3 to start with, then everything else from there on is just a mess. So we end up having to unravel everything that they've done, rebrand, reorganize. So basically bring them all back to ground zero and then strategically build them the proper way out. And whether it's music, whether it's a music business company, whether it's a fashion line, the same formula of branding applies. There are certain assets and strategies that have to be done in a certain formation. And it's basically the variables in each strategy that change, depending upon the industry. So yeah, unfortunately, we usually have to unravel them and redo it. And then Rick's the master at doing sort of all the visuals, all the branding, the name, the the look, the logo, the feel, the photography, the art direction, the website design, the marketing that comes with those call to actions. Then my team jumps in from social media, marketing, PR, licensing, sales, and overall management.
So how long should someone do it wrong before they hire you? Like
Well,
it seems like there's a certain
I
point when
think,
there'd be too green.
yeah, I think like anybody, like even Mark, like let's say Mark's $600 an hour, $1,200 an hour. It's the best $1,200 you're going to spend because you've just saved yourself tens of thousands on the back end from legalities. It's the same with us. You don't know what you don't know, so you're better off getting that information on the front end. If you're going to say, well, I'm going to save money for a year or so, but it's going to cost you maybe 2 years of your career, and you're going in the wrong direction. Do you know what I mean? So I think you should at least straight away get a consult just to see what the actual thing looks like. Because like Mel said, we get people come to us all the time and they say, this is what we're going to do. They're going, great, now we're going to do it properly. And this is, you're going left, you got to go right now. Because that's not right. This is your target audience, your demographic. You're not really country, you're really a pop singer, so you need to go this way. And so there's a lot of things that need to be fished out and provide the client with a target, like a dartboard where they can start shooting at. Right now, they're just shooting everywhere. So I think it needs to happen right away, and it can be a simple consult. Meeting an attorney, meeting your designer, meeting your branding agency, producer. It doesn't matter, because they're the people that know. They specialize in that, and that's going to save you so much time and money on the back end.
But if I were gonna be the devil's advocate, though, if people are coming to you right when they decide that they want to be a professional musician and they haven't even tried to set up their social media, they haven't even tried to figure out like what their thing is, isn't there a little bit like of a new problem that they don't know what they want? They don't know, they haven't been in the trenches, so they don't know what they want you to do for them.
True.
Yeah, that absolutely. Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot. People will come to us in that first consultation, and we'll be like, okay, where do you want to sit? Do you want to be as big as Taylor Swift? Do you want to be sort of a level down? And sometimes they say, oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. But here's the key to it all. We're here to make you think about it. So you can either spend 2 to 5 years trying to figure everything out and going in one direction, going in another until you get there, or you can have professionals like us ask you up front, get you thinking, and then before you put any money down to anything, a logo, a website, social media handles, you have to be asked all these questions. And like Rick said, you need to know what you don't know before you sort of jump in. So I actually like it when people come to us and they have no idea how to answer anything, because we've had artists that consult with us and they end up going away and starting like a cosmetic line, like completely different industry. And we were able to help them and show them up front what everything does and project forward for them and basically design their life out for the next 5 years to where they can make the proper decision and feel good about it and have a great life.
If you're present to the hurdles, if you're up for these obstacles you're going to have to jump, or if you decide to go this way, it's a smooth sailing or smoother, you're going to go the smoother section, right? So we can provide that. And the same as Mark as well in his field.
Yeah, I think the idea of you don't know what you don't know is really resonates across all of the professionals that you work with when you're in entertainment, whether you're a company or an individual. You bring in marketing and branding, you bring in lawyers, you bring in accountants, because there's certain things that you don't know. I mean, it should resonate. Look at the meeting that we had the other day, right? And like, there are some complicated issues that have to do with where you collect your royalties from, right? And a lot of the folks that were in the meeting with us the other day, Stefan, they didn't even know the basics of that, and they're leaving money on the table for something that's either fairly simple or something that should be recognized as an issue that needs to be taken care of. And so, but that's how I feel, because I know that material really well. So I am constantly reminding myself that the things that I know, not everybody else knows, and I shouldn't expect that they know that, and I shouldn't be frustrated by that. It's my job to counsel and advise and be honest and upfront to let people know what what they need to be facing. And I think it sounds like Rick and Melissa face the exact same challenges when they're dealing with clients as well.
I guess my fear is, though, like, Mark, if someone comes to you and their first statement is, I want to be an LLC, and they're not doing anything that makes them money, if they're not doing anything that like makes them like a business yet, they're just writing songs at home. Like, when is too early to come to you? If they're not making money doing music, like, are they coming too soon?
No, well, I mean, it's never too soon to explore those concepts, right? So if you hear about something and you're like, oh, I'm interested in that, then I'm happy to have a consultation with you and tell you it's not yet the time. Or, I think it might be the time, but check with your accountant, like I was saying earlier. So I don't think that there's any wrong time to have those discussions. But I think that it's not always the right time to put certain things into, to implement certain things in your career until it's the right time to implement certain things in your career. I mean, I get a lot of people that will call me because they have a contract that needs to be reviewed, right? Great, we review the contract, they pay, and then they'll call me maybe a couple of weeks later and they'll say, hey, should I have a manager? And it's like, I don't know, should you? Are you doing something that has risen to the level where a manager would be helpful? Because you actually have to have work for the manager before you need a manager. And so then we can talk through those issues and figure out if it is the right time to start exploring that. And so I think that it's never the wrong time to start asking questions. Always ask questions. It's just, is it the right time to start spending your money, your time, your effort in certain areas is the real answer. But the question should always be asked.
I have two pet peeves. One is when people who play 3 or 4 instruments and sing say that they're not musicians, because I would love to play 3 or 4 instruments and sing and not be a musician. My other one is when people say they're not a professional musician because they don't have a manager. I'm just like, what does the manager have to do with being a professional musician? I don't know if you guys have pet peeves where you're just like, wait a second, what's the barrier? Like everybody's coming to me with the same barrier, and you're just like, why is that a barrier?
Yeah, or they want the manager to do 100% of the work. If the manager's only getting 20%, then they're only doing 20% of the work, really, when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. How many times do you get people coming to you with 100 followers on Instagram, and they're like, so sweet, I want to get 10,000 Instagram followers, and can we do it in 3 months? No, like 2 months. 2 months would be good because I have an album coming out in 2 months, and so 10,000 followers would be great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of expectations that especially when we consult, we say, okay, what's your expectations? They go, well, we want to earn a living. Okay, what do you want to earn? Well, I think by June next year we could earn $10 million. I'm like, well, you've only got 10,000 Facebook friends. I don't think that's going to be realistic. Would you be happy with 5 million? Well, yeah. Would you be happy with 2? Yeah, I'd be happy to. What about 100,000? Well, where are you getting at? And we've had this exact same conversation. It's like, well, I want to see where your expectation level is and the reality of hitting those expectations.
Are you suggesting that it's hard to be in the music industry?
A friend of mine said how to make a small fortune in the music business. Start off with a big one.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you're very cool.
So,
and
it's hard.
I think too. I mean, I like to call it the business of music, because it's business. Like, don't get me wrong, it's music first, of course, as in the product and the creative. But at the end of the day, it's people like me are thinking about the business first, and we're thinking about what gaps are in the market. Who are you competing against? What do you sound like? What are you going to sound like? What could you sound like? What could you look like? And then I'm like, then it goes to music. So, it definitely is a business. It definitely has to have a return on investment, and it has to make money. So, good to remember.
How many brilliant musicians do you see in a subway in New York or somewhere that you go, wow, they're world class, and yet they're just busking on the street for like pocket change? So there's a lot of factors, especially when it comes to the music business. There's only so much room at the top. So, and these days there's so much noise and so many different outlets that you can distribute your music to. So it's hard. It's a hard game. So talent is just not the one driving factor here. It takes a village.
Mhm. I always tell people to hire Mark as their lawyer, because if they want to make money in the music industry, he's bound to buy their shirts at their shows. So they'll at least make $20, maybe like, I mean, if they come out with a new shirt every year, they might make $20 a year, because Mark's bound to buy it. Like, I mean, one shirt a year, maybe.
But I mean, that's a great point. Like, if you're a musician, it's always good, seeking a management or an attorney or a marketing person, because they've got, like, you go to an attorney, they're working with other managers, record labels, so it's an easy in rather than just rocking up and playing on Broadway and trying to make it yourself. So it's always good to try and get to the people at the top, and someone like Mark can open up big doors for you. And likewise with us, we've got producers that we work with and musicians, and so it's a good thing to do, to be able to lock into those people.
And you're going to sell 2 shirts, one to your mom and one to Mark. So that's like,
That's
that
right.
might even be $40 that you made this year in the music industry. So that's pretty good.
I got a whole
we
stack
talk
of
out
over there.
Yeah, we talk our clients out of sitting on millions of shirts, printing off shirts and stuff for their band. I'm gonna print 1,000 shirts. I'm gonna sell these next week at my gig. It's like, no, they're gonna end up under your bed, and then you're gonna end up giving them away to your buddies. So we're very frugal in, okay, let's design a certain amount of shirts, digitally print one-offs, and then work out what sells the best, and do some analysis on what's happening, and then invest into selling more of that design that is a winner.
I always like to create a mathematical equation. I'll work with my clients and say, okay, when you normally have a show, how many CDs do you sell at that show? Okay, let's say that you have how many shows a year? Let's say you buy 1,000 CDs. How many years are you going to have those CDs for? 10? Okay, cool. Don't buy that many, because I don't think you want those CDs for 10 years. I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure that you might not want those for that long.
These days you can do one-offs, especially with t-shirts, direct to garment printing, merchandise, and that's where you're making a lot of your money these days, is merchandise, not just the music. So don't go spending a shitload of money trying to stock up and save a little bit of a percentage on the back end because you're buying in bulk. Just start off small and work your way up.
Mark, what are some examples of money that?
Sorry. Well, I was just going to say, one of my dreams is to work the merch table for one of the bands that I'm working with, but they're always they're always afraid to ask, because they think that means they're going to have to pay me my normal hourly fee to work the merch table. So, but I dream of that, because I think I could sell.
I thought your dream was to be a tambourine lawyer.
Any of my clients are out there, I will do it for free if you ask me, because I have this like desire to think that I'm going to sell more than anybody else. So just putting that out.
That must mean you have 2 wishes then, because my understanding was you also wanted to be the tambourine lawyer in one of the bands that you represented, or triangle lawyer, or like something like percussion.
Hashtag lawyer on tambourine. Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody's picking me up on that yet either.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. What's an example of money that the bands are leaving on the table? Like, for Mark, what's an area where you're like, hey, you need to be responsible for this. You're leaving money. You're leaving money in the ether that you're not getting.
Yeah, well, right now, obviously, the big one that everybody should know about, and I'm surprised how many people have not heard of it, is the Music Licensing Collective. And so the MLC is there. It's available. It's ready to sign up. And while there's some delay in the sign-up process, everybody should be at least learning what the MLC is. And what the MLC does is it's a new organization formed under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act that is going to handle collection and payment of mechanical royalties for songwriters on digital uses through the streaming platforms. So right now, if you are an independent songwriter and your song is played on Spotify, there's a pretty good chance you're not getting any of your mechanical royalties. Spotify's kind of ignoring that, unless you're signed up with a publisher or a publishing administrator. But with the MLC, you'll be able to sign up and you'll get paid. Not only will you get paid, it doesn't cost you anything, and the money comes directly to you through the organization. So you don't have to do any work. You just have to sign up. I am shocked how many people do not know that this has gone into effect. This is part of that Music Modernization Act that was passed last year. And it is basically, it's not free money because you worked really hard to write the songs, but it's money that's sitting on the table that a lot of people don't recognize, that they now have the ability to more easily collect than they may have before. And again, if you work with an administrator, or if you are signed with a publishing company, this is probably being taken care of for you, but it's still something you also want to know about. If you're independent, you definitely want to know about this and get signed up on there. And kind of that's the one right now is in our faces. That is a big area that everybody should be aware of.
Is there a time limit to the time that money gets stored on the shelf, or do you lose it, or does it stay there? You do lose it.
Yeah, you will eventually lose it. And basically, from what I've been told directly from representatives from the MLC, is if two out of three songwriters signed up, and they signed up at 75%, and then there was a third songwriter who was a 25% stakeholder that didn't sign up, that money would be held for a certain amount of time, and then if it wasn't collected, it would go to the two that were actually signed up. If that third person didn't join on, it would then go to the two that did sign up. So it's really in your self-interest. Now, the one really nice thing about the MLC that's very different than, say, Sound Exchange or your relationship with your PRO, other than the fact we're talking about different royalties, but one of the cool things about the MLC is it's going to be an online, publicly accessible database. So if you are, say, working with someone like Song Trust or something like that, and you think that they've got your songs on there, but you're not sure, you can go look, and you'll be able to look at the database, find the song, see if you're listed, and see what your splits are. And that you can't do with the other collection agencies, whether it be the government one in Sound Exchange or the one that you pick and is a private organization in your PRO, ASCAP, CSAC, BMI, GMR. But with the MLC, they're going to put that out there. It's going to have residual benefits too. Now, if somebody's looking for you, they heard your song and they're looking for you, they'll be able to look you up on that database, find out how to contact you. Maybe somebody wants to sync your song. They don't even know how to get a hold of you. It's a totally independent song. They really wanted it. Now there's going to be a database people can go to search for that. That's far more user-friendly than the only other database out there, the Copyright Office. And so this is a really good thing that is happening right now. And the nicest thing is Spotify, Amazon, Apple, they have to pay for it. So as a songwriter, when you sign up, it costs you nothing to sign up, and they don't take a cut of any of your royalties. It's all paid for by the DSPs.
And how do people find this again?
Look for Mechanical Licensing Collective online. I think it might be mlc.org. But my understanding is that for independent artists, you will be able to start signing up in early January. You were supposed to be able to sign up in October, COVID. So now it's early January. They're going to start collecting royalties in January. First payments are going to start going out after Q1. So the money is going to start flowing very quickly from that for songwriters.
So what you're saying is this might be relevant for someone like Rick, who in addition to being a graphic designer, also as a singer-songwriter, might want to be collecting his money that's like floating around.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's that's interesting. I didn't know that. So that's really good news.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Not to my co-writers. My co-writers are like, he's not going to know. He's not going to know. Damn it. I
know. Mark, is that the most exciting thing that that's like piquing your interest right now, or is there something else that you're just like, oh my gosh, in addition to that, there's this other thing that's really exciting right now?
Yeah, it's that, and then it's unwinding the issues with live streaming and VOD. Right now, especially on the sound recording side, the issue of you're not able to utilize sound recordings in live streams or in VODs. And so basically DJs get cut out of that live stream because the Copyright Act does not effectively address how royalties and rights are handled for a live stream of a sound recording. And so that's really interesting right now too. It's also caused a lot of confusion. Look, there's a lot of people out there that are music bloggers, and in order to drive traffic to their sites, they put out these doom and gloom statements on these kind of controversial issues. The big one that happened a few months ago was Facebook is going to take all of your music down. It's over. You'll never be able to put any music or any type of music thing on Facebook again. If you even have a picture of a guitar on Facebook, they're just going to shut you down, which was not the case. The issue had to do with one small thing that surrounded the use of sound recordings on Facebook. Earlier this year, back in January, especially for anyone that's in California, it was all AB5. AB5, that's it. AB5's going into effect. That's a law that had to do with independent contractor versus employee classification. No more independent contractors. All musicians are out of business. All filmmakers are out of business. It's all over. We might as well leave the state. And this was really perpetuated by a number of different bloggers who put that message out there so that people would come read their sites. What happens, then it trickles down to me. And people call me in a total panic. And then I get to talk them off the ledge and say, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's more of a legal wrangling issue that isn't going to really impact you. And by the time all the dust settles, you'll be fine. So that part of the job is very interesting. But this issue surrounding use of sound recordings in live streams and VOD is definitely one that has a lot of misinformation, or a lot of people fanning the flames and selling it as doom and gloom so that they can get people to come read their blog.
I didn't include Twitch in Love It or Hate It because I felt like you might be biased, but I'm curious to see, like, in this little group of 4, Love It or Hate It on Twitch, now that we've already opened up this, like, people stifling or promoting music.
Inconsequential.
Still not an answer.
What about Melissa?
I can't hate something I don't know. Like, I don't know enough.
Honestly,
about it
we don't use Twitch for any of our clients, so I'm not even educated enough to comment.
So, Mark, you should pitch it. Pitch it, Mark. Here you go.
And you know, the one thing that I point out is how proactive they've been trying to work with independent musicians, specifically with the Twitch soundtrack project, where you can basically, as a live streamer, there is a number of sound recordings that you can use, all coming from independent record labels like my friends over at Text Me Records, that you can use for free in the background and in your live streams without having to worry about paying any royalties or worrying about any rights at all fully licensed through the platform. And they made that conscious decision to do that with independents and not with the majors, because they wanted to try to give a platform to independents, and it's also a little bit less expensive. And but that was a really cool thing that they did over there. And so the legal team and the music team over at Twitch, really good people, and super music centric. They've got some fantastic people who really care about the industry that work there, and they're trying to work through some of the issues that really are not a problem between, you know, the publishers and the administrators and the streaming services. It's really a deficiency in the Trademark Act that needs to get worked out more than anything else.
Stefan, love it.
Yeah, okay. So you name dropped our friends at Text Me Records, so I'll name drop that yesterday. Karen Allen talked about her book about Twitch. So if anybody wasn't in that panel, seek her out, check it out. And that's my segue into books. So I was reading through Dead Horse's bio and what things they've been working on. And so I know that they worked on a coffee table book for Tony Brown. And I'm wondering if that and other things that you're excited about that you're like, guess what's exciting right now on our docket?
Yeah, I mean, we've got some really funky things going on, which I'm excited about. But the coffee table book was an incredible project. Rick literally, you know, if you get a chance to grab Elvis Straight to Jesus, it is a coffee table book for the producer that we manage, country music producer Tony Brown. He's definitely one of the pillars in the country music community and one of the best producers in the world. And it was a coffee table book of his whole life story and all of the most important bits. And it took out all the awards for New York Best Book Award, International Design Awards, and Rick was behind photography, graphic design, co-writing it. I also did some of the photography. It's funny because he shot the front cover and I shot the back cover. But then throughout the whole book, we argue about who shot what. And there was this one particular time where I'm like, I took that photo, Rick. That was me. That was in the studio with Cyndi Lauper, and I took that one. He's like, Mel, I took it. I'm like, no, you're trying to claim it. I took it. He raised the levels up as in like the brightness, and I'm in the corner with a clipboard, like just making sure shit's going on. He's like, well, then if you're in the corner, who took the photo? Like,
Nice.
So
wait, does that
we
mean
both worked
you're
on
allowed
it.
to be in front of the camera and behind the camera? Because I know that you have modeling photos out there, so it seems that you're not afraid to be on both sides of the camera.
Definitely not afraid, although these days I've done too much sitting down in a chair managing other people, so you know, might
That's
not
just
want to
about
get
good
in front of
angles.
it again.
That's just good angles. You just need a photographer that's like,
Right.
I know
And
how
Photoshop.
we need to shoot this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, if you listen to any
Yes.
rap songs, we don't want any of that Photoshop anymore. We want to see like all the good stuff.
Right. So
Yeah.
that was an amazing project we worked on, and that of course opened up more doors. But we've just been working with the Baha Men, Who Let the Dogs Out. You remember that amazing iconic tune? Yeah. And so there's some fun stuff going on with them. We can't say too much, but Rick did rebrand their whole platform from website to logo and image, and it just won International Design Awards as well. So that's been awesome. And then Rick, who else? I mean, we're working with Chef Andrew from Food Network, which is cool.
Yeah, it's not with us. It's not just music. Our strengths are in music and fashion, but you know, we do other fields of occupation. Like in Australia, we've got a motorcycle company that we're going to start working with, which is going to be fun. But to me, it's the new projects come along. I don't care if you're a baby act or a big act. I just love. I see it as people come to us with a box of jigsaw, like a jigsaw puzzle, and it's all shaken up. All the pieces are shaken up. I can put all those pieces together and then make it even look better than what it did when it first made up. So to me, every project is exciting. I'm excited about setting up our another office in Australia. We've got a satellite office there at the moment, but our clients we see once a year in Christmas time for a couple of months, and then we come back here. So we're going to dedicate a bit more time to them and help cross over from the US.
And we're super lucky, you know, we're working on a documentary with Scooter Braun Productions and that whole team and Scott Borchetta. It's called The Killer Bees and the $1 Billion Sting. It's a country music documentary around the time all those guys ran MCA Nashville, generated over $1 billion in 10 years. So we work on really fantastic, wonderful projects, and our client Tony Brown did cut the tribute to Mac Davis for In the Ghetto with Reba and Darius that they just you know, did the exclusive and launched it on the CMAs just this week, which was awesome too. So, you know, we're in press mode for that, which is so much fun. And then, as Rick said, we love working on names that haven't even made it yet. They haven't even had a chance to do anything, you know, because for us, it is about strategies. It's about building. If you're iconic, we want to keep you iconic. We want to make you even bigger and better. And if you're a newbie, you know, we want to launch you the correct way. We want to give you the tools. You want to pack you and tell you what it's really going to be like out there and make sure you're fully equipped, ready to jump into your industry and help you make it along the way.
One thing that for the people watching that super excites me and is super important, that is their hunger. They have to be hungry. You know, you can't just throw money at something and sit back and watch everyone work around you. It's really got to come from that passion and drive from the artist itself, and we can build on that and just take it like a freight train and just ram it through anything. But if the artist isn't hungry and is not behind it, it makes it hard for us, and then you start to you're not as passionate about it anymore because you can only do so much.
I feel like as we start to wind down and start to like have to end this conversation somehow, I'm opening it up to anybody that's streaming with us to ask questions in the chat, just like chime in. But I realize I don't really care much like if you guys are wearing pants, because that's the nature of these conversations. You don't have to wear pants, but I feel like all of us have something interesting above us. Like Melissa has some sort of really cool art above her, and Rick, I see a picture there in the background, and there's bobbleheads in the background. So I don't know if we all like can like slowly like reveal like what's slightly above us, get some more bobbleheads in this action, or get some more art in this action.
I like that.
There we go.
Because I feel like
cool.
everybody was going to be curious this whole time, like what was behind us. We appear to all be very visually oriented people. So
my gold records are in the other room, which I couldn't be in tonight.
For ones you worked on or ones you sang on, like which way we're gonna? If this is
No,
true
I'm
or this is a lie, which
I'm joking. These two paintings, Mel's in the other room. These are some of my paintings. The one behind me, Stephen Tyler actually posed for it. We were at Washington D.C. and Stephen was at Congress, fighting for the songwriters' royalty rights or something. It was about 5 years ago. Performance royalties. Yeah. And anyway, we're just hanging out, and he's like, "Well, let me do some poses," and he's like posing and doing all these things, and it's cool. So that's a special painting for me. And the one behind Mel is Keith Richards that I painted as well, which I love the Stones. They inspire me a lot. What's your? I love the colors and the picture you got in the background. What's yours?
So I do painting as well, like graphic designer that does painting. But the studio I was at had a lot of perfectionists that worked in the studio, so they were throwing away their art all the time. So this is like a really like big, thick, like piece of wood that's all framed, and someone threw it in the dumpster. And I was like, I want it. How am I going to get this home? So I had to walk 3 miles home with it because I wanted it so bad. I was like, this is not going in any vehicle. No Uber's going to pick me up. So I accepted that I wanted it so bad that I had to hike it home.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So if you want great artwork, hang out near the dumpster at an art studio in your neighborhood. It comes out there every day. It's like, this sucks. I hate this. This sucks.
Okay. Good to know.
The bummer is I have no idea who painted it. All I know is that it's an artist that lived in San Francisco around 2009, had the same studio as me, Art Explosion, and thank you for the piece of art. You're amazing.
Yeah.
I will say that there haven't been any questions popping in, but a lot of people did say like, thank you. People were saying to Mark when they weren't sure where I was going with my intros, and they're like, this isn't music business. What is this crap? As soon as we got into the heart of it, they're like, okay, now we get it. Okay, fine.
Stefan, there's a super important question. Rick, is Dead Horse a reference to tomato sauce from James Carter?
How so?
I don't know. I'm lost, James. You're gonna have
how so?
You have to elaborate on that one. I don't know.
Well, I assumed it was some sort of beating a dead horse or some sort of thing like that.
Yeah, I mean that too. But my last name is Caballo in Spanish. I'm Spanish, and we had a fashion brand called Corcoballo, and the logo of our business, our business company's Dead Horse comes from a design that we did in Corcoballo, and we just called it Dead Horse because branding and anything always starts with a framework, and what better framework than the skeletal structure of something. So that's where it came from.
Is that like having a company called Balanced Breakfast, and people are like, "What do you do? Like, you cook food? You like you specialize in eggs and bacon and what?"
It's the most important meal of the day.
Yeah, Mark, what does ARC stand for?
It doesn't stand for anything. My original partner, Annie, she just selected it. She goes, "It sounds strong," and we wanted something that had an A. And so people would ask us all the time, what does ARC stand for, right? And like we got sick of hearing it. Now she's left the practice, so this doesn't work as well anymore. But one day I said, hey, let's just tell everybody it's Annie and Mark put together.
Nice.
But that's not it.
Why don't you just rename it AAA Law Group so that way you can be like absolutely at the top of the yellow pages that nobody has anymore?
Acme. See, if I named it Acme, then I'd have to, fall off the ledge every once in a while and blow up on the way down and all that crazy stuff. Chase around a road runner.
Nice.
We just had a question from Aiden for Mark regarding MLC.
Oh, right on. What's up, Aiden? I know Aiden. We did an interview together like 4 years ago. Awesome musician.
That's a good question. How does MLC work with PERS and DistroKid?
So PRO collects, so there's two different royalties, right? When you, on the songwriting side, there's a performance royalty. That's what your PRO collects, right? And then there is a mechanical royalty, and that's what the MLC deals with. This is a really kind of weird concept, the idea of mechanical with digital rights, because mechanical we think of as something that has been produced, right? So we traditionally think mechanical rights being attached to, say, selling vinyl or a CD, right? Or actually using a machine to make a copy of your song. But what the law basically says is with the Spotify's and the Apple and Amazon, all the interactive DSPs where you get to choose the song you want to listen to when you want to listen to it, that is akin or the same thing as having a physical copy. So there's a mechanical right there. Different than, say, if you were listening to the song on iHeartRadio or even on Pandora, where you don't have a choice. Only a performance royalty is generated from that type of use online. But when it's on a Spotify's of the world, where you get to choose, then it creates a mechanical royalty. That's what the MLC is going to collect and distribute to the songwriters. DistroKid is an aggregator, and what they do is collect and pay the mechanical royalty, but on the sound recording side, not on the songwriter side. MLC songwriter side, composition copyright. DistroKid is collecting and paying you your sound recording royalty for the digital, or for the mechanical use of your sound recording as the composition or as the owner of the sound recording, or if you're with a label through that label. So that's what that's how DistroKid works. So those are basically three different organizations collecting three different royalties. And of course, the fourth royalty that Aiden, you didn't mention, was from Sound Exchange, and that is a performance royalty on the digital use of a sound recording. Okay, so you've got a performance royalty and a mechanical royalty for both your composition as a songwriter and for the sound recording. So 4 different royalties that come in every time the song is played on Spotify. And that's how they're handled. So
Nice.
So this is just another way to get the money to you directly, but with the MLC as a songwriter for your digital performance, or digital mechanical rights to your song. Sorry, I'm trying to say this really fast because I know you want to wrap up. So
Yeah.
If anybody has any other questions, though, feel free to reach out, man. I love talking about this stuff. I get all nerdy about it when I'm not collecting
And
my merch.
Slack.
I found all my merch. I got my shirt from my friends Bill and the Bells. They're out there in Tennessee.
Nice.
Nice.
They're super cool. They're like a throwback Americana band that has like a radio show on PBS, and they got other shirts. So yeah, good stuff.
Cool. Check them out.
Yeah, they're very
Awesome.
cool. They do a radio show called Farm and Fun and Farm Time. Sorry guys, if you guys are watching. Fun and Farm Time. But they're super cool. They do those harmonies like singing back in the 20s, like the Andrews Sisters.
Wow.
I have a signing off request because clearly we need something for social media so that way we have something to post to say, hey, we were all hanging out. So as we're signing out, can I make the request that everybody says what their name, their social medias are, and while they're doing it, they're using lots of hands so I can do a video that's all sped up and we're like, hey, we're having so much fun here. So anybody who's talking and moving, yeah, exactly. Mark's got to be moving. Okay, let's start with Rick. What's your social media? How do we hang out with you?
All right, deadhorsebranding.com. I'm Rick Caballo, and you can find me at deadhorsebranding.com.
Nice. Melissa, how do we find you?
I'm Mel, and you can find us on Instagram at deadhorsebranding or deadhorsebranding.com.
Mark, how do we find you?
Mark Pearson, the law firm is Arc Law Group, arclg.com is the website, or Arc Law Group at Arc Law Group on all the social media places.
Nice. And I'm Stefan Aronsen. You can find me at stefanaronsen.com or Instagram, all that. And then Balanced Breakfast with no vowels. Thanks for hanging out with us. God, you're welcome back to come back. The voice of Loic, where are you? Come save us.
Thank you,
French
guys.
God.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much. Let's jump to the after party.
Woo!
Yeah.
Right on.
Thanks.